What is going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? I hope y'all can hear me. Let me see if I can fix that. Hey, there we go. Now I'm actually in the chat room. Hey, hi guys. What's going on, everybody? It is just me here tonight. We are going to have a good night tonight. It has been a wild past couple, like 24, 48 hours, I think. There's been a lot of stuff said. There's been a lot of things happen. There has been a lot of emotion. Just go onto Twitter and you can find all of it. Heck, come to the Discord, links in the description below, and you can find all of it. It's a lot right now. But as we do here, we like to start off with an icebreaker, and not necessarily an icebreaker, but kind of just an introduction into gaming. Like what we've been playing and all of that. Well, since it's just me here, I invite y'all to let me know in the chat what y'all have been playing. I wrapped up Adventures of Elliot. I did the first ending. I need to go back. I wasn't going to, because I don't like games that make you complete every little tiny thing just to get a different ending. I like games like that, but I don't like to do all of that extra junk just to get an extra ending. And I talked to Will777JP, shout out to him. And he was like, dude, it's actually not that hard. All it is like a side quest you got to go complete. And then you got something to do at the end boss. Just go check online. Well, when I had checked online, because I was day one on the game, and when I had checked online, it was like this laundry list of crap that you had to do. So I didn't even try. And I was like, I'm not messing with that. This is, you got to complete all the side quests. You got to stand on one leg while holding your controller and pressing X. Like, that actually wasn't one, but it felt like it. Just ridiculousness at its finest. So I did not complete all the stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play through. I'm going to get the ending I get. And if that's the ending I get, then cool. Well, I am going to go back and finish it up. But Adventures of Elliot, it's a great game. It is an adventure game. That is literally all it is. Don't expect it to be anything more. Don't expect it to be anything less. It literally is what would happen if Zelda was made by Square Enix. And, it worked. Is Elliot a little bit of a goody two-shoes? Yes, he is. Do I really wish that we would have seen one scene like from the past where he did something bad boy-ish just to let me know he had that in him? Yes. But at the same time, I really think they did good with the character. I really think they did good with the story, especially as it progressed. Everything gets a whole lot clearer and things start making sense. And with the jumping through the millenniums, you really start to see how everything kind of ties together in a nice, neat little bow. And so I was really, really happy with my time in Adventures of Elliot. Had about 30 hours in it. That's according to the PlayStation, but according to the actual save data, I think I'm at like 25. So there's 5 hours in there where I just lost track of time. And I don't know why this is still up. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so let's talk to the chat real quick. Let's go. Hello on a sad day. Yep. The end of the gaming pen. It's the gaming den, Outsider Gaming Night. Lunchy Sky 237. What's up, dude? Glad to see you here. Can't believe I traded in the physical copy of Ghosts of Yote last month. I own it digitally. So that is definitely one of the topics tonight. It's gonna get me there. But I have a lot of feelings all at once. I have feelings ranging from F PlayStation and F gaming all the way over to there's nothing we can do, so either like it, lump it, or get over it. Like, and I am everywhere in between. This is very fresh for me. I have not taken fully the day to process it. I was working all day today, and then when I got home, we have family in town, And so I've been trying to be a little bit social with that. I had a headache after work, so I laid down to take a nap because working outside in this weather down here is kicking my rear end. Thankfully, 2 Advil later, a couple glasses of water, and about a 30-40 minute nap, and I feel great now. But it didn't leave me a lot of time to actually process anything but the raw emotion from it. If that makes any sense. Like, the reason why I say that is because we can see a topic, and remember I talked a couple weeks ago about sensationalism, right? Oh, first, real quick, so sorry. Thank you all for being here. It is a solo show tonight. That's why I didn't introduce any guests. Last time I did a solo show, people said they really enjoyed it. And so, what's up, Reckless517? How are you? Jeez. Also, I think somebody just subscribed. Thank you for that subscription. I don't know where you went, but I heard the little chime thing go off. So that means that somebody subscribed. And because Streamlabs doesn't necessarily work on all the features it used to, I can't see the pop-up anymore of who did. So if you subscribed, drop a like, come on in, say hi, let me know that you just joined the Gaming Den. Yeah, that'd be great. So what's up, Rachie? Hey, you know what? That's kind of the initial reaction, right? The initial reaction is F PlayStation. I can't believe PlayStation would do this. So from this point forward, though, and this is where I try to pride myself a little bit on having the ability to disconnect myself emotionally from certain topics. Because at the end of the day, Josh and I talk about this quite often. At the end of the day, I have to figure out for myself, just like each one of y'all do. If you're coming here tonight for a, hey, this is what you should do moving forward, I'm not you, I can't answer that. But that too, outsider, what I will say is that you're at a crossroads in, call it a year and a half, where you have to make the choice. Do you go and keep going with PlayStation on a all physical or all digital platform, or do you branch off and say start only ordering from GOG, which basically on GOG, once you order the game and buy the game, it's your game. It is now yours. It is DRM free. They won't pull the license. They just don't. So there's that option. Then there's the option of just, are you done and exiting gaming altogether? You have to make the choice. And I don't necessarily think any of the 3 choices are wrong. I'm in a position right now where, and I'll just peel back the curtain a bit, I play several games, usually PlayStation first-party games, physically. I play a lot of the Final Fantasy games physically. Outside of that, I trade in most of my physical games to buy the next game that I'm wanting. I've said that many times before. Also, guys, what you can do is if you want to help out, you can hit the like button. If you have not subscribed, you can do that. We've already had one person subscribe tonight, so thank you to whoever that was. And also, if you want to support the channel monetarily, that would be super awesome. And you can hit the join button. If you hit the join button, all you have to do is go to join. It's $5 a month, and that helps out tremendously. Also, I will be revamping all of the, what are they called? All of the emojis, because those emojis, one, were made by somebody who didn't really have a good understanding of how to use Canva, so apologize for that. But also, they were made by somebody who had a little bit more of an edge and maybe a little bit of a console war bent on them. So I'm gonna back off from that crap fully, and I'm gonna be changing some of those emojis. Crap, where was I? Oh yeah, physical. We have a choice to make. We really do. I mean, that's it. You can you can make the choice. Does it suck? Yes. Can we talk about how much it sucks? Yes. Can we talk about how the split is like 80-20 and they're going to lose out on probably 5% of that total number? Like, Josh, I understand that we've always had a choice, but it's almost like this is a rubber meets the road moment, right? The Stop Killing Games movement failed. Physical media has been declining. 80-15, thank you. Physical media has been declining like nobody's business. And because of that, they're saying, and we're being gaslit by Sony that it's just because of market data, has nothing to do with the fact that they want to be able to make more money on every purchase. It has nothing at all to do with that, which, interestingly enough, if you know the way this works, and I don't know if it works the same way as it did back in the day, but back in the day when I had a good friend that worked at GameStop, I think all of us have had at least one. I had a friend of mine who worked at GameStop, and he said the way it happens is they purchase the game in full. It's not like Sony is saying, hey, GameStop, can you put the game on your shelf? And when it sells, you keep $8 and we get the rest. No. They buy everything and then put it on their shelf. So Sony already gets their money regardless of if it is a digital copy or a physical copy. So the only thing that them switching away from physical does, well, it does two things. I'm going to write this down because I have ADHD really bad today. So give me a sec, because this is not where this conversation was going until just now. So it does two things. Save money for PlayStation. And I'll explain that. And then two, it kills secondary. So those are the two things. If you're taking your notes, and if you open your Bibles to... No, I'm just kidding. If you're taking notes, number one thing that this does is it kills the secondary market. Because, yes, Sony will still make their money from GameStop, Walmart, Target, all of that. They're going to put their digital codes inside the stores. This also could be, this is point number 3, this also could be a direct outplaying of how many times they have been sued for keeping their digital platform and their digital store locked. And making it to where they wouldn't sell digital versions like Xbox does at big box stores. The only place you could get a PlayStation game digitally was from PlayStation or from like a website like Loaded or something like that, which I'm not fully certain how they get their codes. I have purchased a couple things from them on Steam, but I don't quite know how they get their codes. And I was talking to a couple people and they were like, man, there's just a lot of shady crap that seems to be going on with those. So, it could be to save money. It could be because of the lawsuits and they're tired of getting sued by the EU because of their walled garden on the digital front. Those are all possibilities. Hey, Hero, I get it, man. I get it. And they are. You know, it is PR bullshit. I agree. But it doesn't change the fact that that could also be part of the reason. Like, just because it's PR bullshit doesn't mean it's part of the reason. Or doesn't mean it's not part of the reason. The other thing is that it saves money for PlayStation. So, mind you, please, for the love of goodness, if anybody wants to clip or say anything, they need to listen to this real quick. I am not saying that this is a good thing. I'm trying to give insight as to why they may have done it. I am saying it's up to the gamer to decide what in the heck they're going to do moving forward. No, not outrage, Bale. Also, what's up, Bale? Holy cow, hadn't seen you in a hot minute. No, not outrage. Just exploring the topic. So my third thing is they do it to save money. Physical versions of do cost money to make. The disc costs money. All of that, it's probably a nominal amount, probably doesn't amount to much at all. And so I don't really know if that one holds any water, but that could be. And then, like Will said, yeah, the other reasons are control and just money. And so Control. What do I mean? Well, they can basically, they're not GOG. They don't promise to not let you have the game forever and ever and ever and ever like GOG does. What they did say is that you will be able to keep the games for the foreseeable future. Well, that was related. I'm sorry. That was related to the Vita and the PS3 store shutting down. If you own the games digitally, you get to access them for the foreseeable future. And so, yeah, it leaves the gamer in a position to make a decision. That's what it does. And that decision can be, like I already said, leave the platform, period, point blank. Leave the platform. Go. Stay on the platform and know that in a year and a half, you're switching to all physical. Or to all digital. That's also a possibility. As Reckless is like, all right, I'm out. Well, and one of the guys in the Discord, Nelson, everybody knows Nelson. He's already said, hey, this is my last gen. I'm done. And that's okay. That is okay. I mean, yes, I'm sorry. There is a caveat. Nelson's not just done with gaming. He's just going to switch to retro gaming. Which, you know what? That's his choice. And that's okay. It's not... There's also going to be a ton of people who are going to make videos griping about it, make videos being angry about it, and at the end of the day, they're still going to sit there and play the games. And so, because of that, it's a little frustrating. And that's why I don't want to go, I'm not going to go too deep into being angry or anything like that on this. We need the "it's a choice" Phil quote. I was channeling that as I was saying that, so it was there in spirit. But it's just Reckless said, I need my computer power at my house, not on the server. Yeah. Here you go. We're digital hero. You go where digital is done best. Where you have a PlayStation, the most protections as a consumer, it ain't... Huh? Oh, where you have the most protections as a consumer, it ain't PlayStation. No, that would be PC. That's why I said try GOG. Because GOG's gonna... I mean, I ordered games from GOG. I have a couple from them. I constantly check out their sales because, honestly, you can find games fairly cheap from there. Now, it may take a while for some games to get over to GOG, and some games will never come. And yeah, Josh, that's what it... Like, you can be frustrated. You can be angry. I'm not going to tell anybody not to feel whatever they're feeling. That is a valid thing. Human emotional response is a valid thing. I'm not going to tell somebody not to feel some sort of way. But I will say this. You can have your moment. I did earlier. I was pissed. But that was very short-lived because I felt like it's just all been frivolous. Everyone with digital, there are no protection clouds. If PlayStation had good digital protection, then digital 100% honestly wouldn't be that big of a deal, but they don't. I would love to... I'd love to understand what you mean by physical... Like, good physical protections. And, Bale, are you meaning to yell at us, or are you accidentally typing in all caps? Just wondering. PS players love it raw. Hey, listen, you Xbox guys have been getting it raw for years. Don't do that. Like, don't bring that up. Y'all been getting that stuff raw for years. Oh man, now I need Jez to send me the Gordon Ramsay. It's raw, Melissa. I need that because that them Xbox guys have been getting it raw for years. It's just now our turn. Like, it's a cycle. And Here's the deal. I did a show a while back, maybe sometime last year. I remember saying it though. And I was like, listen, everything comes in a cycle. There may be a moment where PlayStation sticks their foot directly in their mouth again, just like they did back during the PS3. Is that this time? I don't know. I don't know. Will they walk this back? Probably not. All console gamers have? Yeah. No company will give you good... just get a PC. Dude, that is the weirdest thing. I haven't seen a lot of the just get a PC people on this one when they should be screaming that from the rooftops. Like, take your chance to go, hey guys, so now that it's all digital, why don't you just come get a PC? Ha ha ha. And so it's very... You're going to see videos of people screaming. You're going to see videos of people hollering. You're going to see videos of everything in between. From people screaming and hollering to people being like, this is a great idea. All the convenience in the world. I don't buy physical anyways. And at the end of the day, I think everybody has a right to be upset. They have a right to be happy with this. And they have a right to be kind of like me that has just gotten to a point of apathy with it. I'd love to look at y'all and tell y'all how much I give a shit. But at the end of the day, I have a year and a half to make a decision. I do. And at the end of the day, it's my decision to make. Will 777JP said, besides exclusive, what is there on console in an all digital world? Exclusives, the couple we get a year. What reason are there when the cost is sky high? And then Rachie said we're all going to play Genshin Impact in the future anyways. Traveler, come here. It's not me being mature. It's me being apathetic. It's so when you get punched in the teeth enough, it hurts a little less every single time. You start getting calloused. You start being punched in the teeth is probably a bad analogy. But you start getting calloused. You start getting a little bit apathetic. And the problem is that I don't mean to come off like it doesn't matter. I've just seen enough shit to where I get to pick and choose what I get angry about. If they were to come out and tell me that Ace Combat 8 isn't coming out all of a sudden, I'd be pissed about that. I would be livid. If they were to come out and tell me that Final Fantasy VII Revelation wasn't getting made now because the sales of Final Fantasy Rebirth were so low, then I would very much be pissed. But that's because those are games that I actually want to play. Those are things that I am already looking forward to. I want to put my energy towards things that excite me, not things that make me upset. And so that's why in the show notes, and you'll see them in the description, at the bottom I put, hey guys, we're going to talk about all this stuff. We're also going to talk about games and gaming. And we're going to discuss stuff related to video games coming out. Like, I have queued up already games coming out in July. I have queued up already the 20 best video games that came out this year. No, dude, I don't like Angertainment. I went there a little bit. So here's what I learned last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was last week. It was last week. When Nate and I were having our conversation, and consider this an open apology to anybody who was in the chat or watched it afterwards. By the way, guys, hit that like button for me and share this out, please. When we were talking about Square Enix, I got very heated and very passionate because I love Square. I love old Square. Let me rephrase that. And I want to see them get back to where they are, or where they were. And I made some statements in the heat of the moment that weren't actually what I believe or what I think. And they were about Final Fantasy Resonance. And it was about, hey, listen, man, if you've been wanting turn-based and all that other stuff, you should buy this game. You should do that. You should blah, blah, blah. Well, when we say we want turn-based, that's not exactly what those people are meaning. A lot of that started around the Expedition 33 craze. And what's meant by that is that we want turn-based that looks like Final Fantasy 15 or looks like Final Fantasy 17 or 16. I mean, we want turn-based that looks AAA and has a AAA gloss of paint on it. And whether Resonance does well or not isn't going to be a litmus test for Square to automatically go, oh, hey, turn-based it is in Final Fantasy 17. That's what we're doing. And I shouldn't put that type of pressure on the game. And I don't ever want to put that much pressure on a game because that's stupid. I think Final Fantasy Resonance and Final Fantasy VII Revelation are going to stand on their own. And if they fail, they're going to fail because of what they did. Not because there's some turn-based versus ATB versus blah, blah, blah. And so I went ahead and issued that. It's in the comments on the last video, on the last live stream. But back to this. Okay, sorry. I was staring away because I wanted to stay on that train of thought. And when I look at the chat and interact with it, my brain goes, squirrel. Okay, so no anchor. Okay, so that is why reaction videos on this BS is a waste. Only performative from casuals. People should speak on it, not for physical to come back, but for better digital rights. You can get that if these sell good. And then Square, the best I can do is 32-bit. Hey, listen, Raichi. The problem is for somebody like me, the old bastard, fine. Like you're not going to threaten me with a good time. Like I'll take it. Look, watch this, guys. I'm not even kidding. I was going to play a game tonight if it started getting a little stale or stagnant or whatnot, because always have a backup plan. And here's the game I was going to play. Because I have problems. And I like my 16-bit, and I like my animations, and I like the way these games look. And I cannot help myself, nor should I. Because, oh, can we talk about real quick? Hang on. I'm going to get copyrighted for this. I don't really care. Hang on. Let me pull this up. Steam. Here we go. And this is actually on the PlayStation. It's my Steam tab. Hey, Bale Dante. This is the first time you've been in the chat when I've used the capture card that you sent me. Bale Dante, shout out to him. He's the reason why I have a capture card. I appreciate you, dude. And you kind of get to see it coming in handy. Look at this. This thing right here. Let me try to pull it up real quick. I'm messing all of this up. Like, my God. The intros to these games. Like, Tales of Arise has one of the best intros also. It's so freaking good. Scarlet Nexus has an amazing intro. Like, oh, it's so good. It is awesome. It's just the production, the level of it, the way it looks is so good. Anyway, sorry. That's a side note. My bad. That's a side note. But it's one of my favorite parts about this game is the intro. And later on, if it's like other games of theirs, it'll change halfway through depending on your story progression, which is also pretty freaking cool. But that's what I have queued up to play if everything went a little crazy tonight. Oh, it's very loud? Really? It wasn't even hitting the yellow on my screen. That's why I turned it up. I am so sorry. It literally was not even hitting the middle of the yellow on the on Streamlabs. So I thought y'all couldn't hear shit. My bad. That's my fault. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to blow out your eardrums and or your speakers. But yeah. So anyways, back to the chat. Let me come over here and get this pulled back up. It got really. Uh-oh. I may have to figure that out. Well, unless you have a majority share in any of these companies, good luck. That's and Bale Dante, that right there is the conclusion that I came to when I was talking to Josh about some other decisions. Oh, it was GTA not having a disc. And we were like, well, what do you do about it? And that's kind of the conclusion that him and I came to, was like, well, there's not really much you can do unless you're in a regulatory body that could maybe force them, but that's not even a thing. Or you're in a position to actually affect that kind of change. People voting with their wallet, like Will already pointed out, that ain't going to work. The 80% of people said, F it, I'll take digital. But the thing that I think we don't like as a people being told no. Let's get that out of the way. Nobody likes being told no, and now we're being told no. No physical, no disc. No. We're just being told no. And so because of that, people are having a knee-jerk reaction. Now, there is something to be said about the fact that companies, not just PlayStation, not just gaming, but companies have been giving us less and charging us more for quite some time now. Quite some time. That's not even a question. That's just a fact. And so I felt like gaming was one of those last bastions that was like, hey, we're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. Nintendo is never going to go... I need the gunshot from Mighty Keith's videos right now, because I was like, you know what? Nintendo's never, ever going to break away from physical. Insert gunshot. Uh-oh. Well, shit. You know what? PlayStation will never break away from physical. Some of the other publishers might, but PlayStation knows that their player base loves physical. Well, okay. Like, that's not... We don't have a leg to stand on anymore. There's not a publisher, or I'm sorry, there's not a developer, or damn it, there's not a platform holder out there who is just all about that physical. I almost said all about that base, but people in here probably won't get that reference. You're too young. Or some people in here won't get that reference. Okay. Let's see. The case edition. Buy whatever is left of physical games. We know there will be a resurgence of retro. LOL, crazy loud. I am so sorry. Josh Ayers said I'd run for office. Now we know why Rockstar staff said GTA will never get a disc version. I bought the case edition. Thrifty said no. They in shit. You get vocal with government. They are the only ones that can get us consumer protections. Tell PlayStation you won't buy. Tell PlayStation you won't buy. We'll do nothing. But tell them buy. They just said buy to reportedly $1 billion in physical money. No treble. That's right, man. The case edition was $5 off. Bell Dante said, I didn't even look at what the case edition has to offer. Would I dare say the collector's edition? Gravity Rush is $10 on digital, $120 physical. Shit. That is something that was brought up that I don't like. So, people have made statements that going all digital is going to destroy the video game sales market, like buying a game at discounted prices. And of course, they cherry-picked 4 games that are not on sale on PlayStation right now and found where those 4 games were on sale out in the wild. Amazon, GameStop, what have you. Those are disingenuous arguments. And I know this because, please, for the love of God, somebody go to Steam and pull up the freaking library they have. And go see what those games cost. You'll find them for $2, $3, $5, $10, $12, $13.99. Because games still go on sale all the time. All the time. Because they still want your money, whether it's digitally or not. Those deep physical discounts on Amazon only last like 20 minutes. I know. Because I've had people message me stuff and go, hey man, this thing is on sale. And I go to look for it and no, it's not. And they're like, no, it really was. Bullshit. I think you're lying to me. Silver lining. This spells good for handheld rumors. The sentimental edition. Also, anyone who says all digital is no big deal is ignorant. I would agree. I think going all digital is a big deal. I just choose to not get upset. I worry more about the mom and pop shops. Okay. So this is also, remember my list of things? Let's see. Number 2 was kills the secondary. See, I wrote that shit down. Number 2 is kills the secondary. Yes, sir, Beldante. What you got, sir? I said that and then remember there's a delay so you can't respond immediately. That's my bad. It kills the secondary. And yes, it absolutely does. There is no way to slice that where it doesn't kill the secondary. You were participating in selective pricing. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Selective pricing, like without without knowing. I was like, okay, what did I do? Please tell me. I don't know what I did. I'd like to know what I did. Mom and pop shops, good riddance. Tired of selling them my $2 HDMI cable for $50. Man. So, Rachie, as a person who has a wife who hand makes her soaps, now that's different. Never mind. Not even going to go down that rabbit hole. That's different. What is selective pricing? Sales digitally work way different, and you will wait way longer for a bigger discount versus physical. Depends on the publisher. New physical games, you can find a discount tomorrow if it comes out today. Yeah, once again, depends on the publisher. Not for the physical side of it, but for the digital side. Because, yeah, physical, you can at least find a $5 discount, especially buying pre-owned. You can get $5 off, usually the day after. Some moron bought it, and then another one came in, like, that he had shipped to him or whatnot, and then he has 2 copies, and he's like, hey, I'll just trade one in. And, like, that kind of happens. Or a kid buys it, mom and dad say, no, take it back. I want $30 off. So, here's the thing. Y'all know this. I buy most of my games on sale anyways, and as I have already clearly admitted, I do not have a big physical collection, so to speak. Which means most of the games I buy on sale, I buy digitally. Because of that, I feel like I get to speak on digital sales just to ooch. Because I've been buying off of the digital PSN store for quite a while because the sales are really good. And so because of that, I don't know if I'm ready to sit there and say, oh, this is going to make a dramatic shift, because even digital indie games that have come out will give you a pre-order window. Like, hey, if you pre-order, oh crap. What freaking game was it? It just came out in May. What game was it? Lord Jesus. Oh my goodness. What freaking game? This is why I write stuff down. What game? Oh my Lord. What game? My brain is not letting me move on from this either. Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk Tokyo. That gave you a $4 discount if you pre-ordered the game. And that was available to PSN people. It was also available on Steam. It was also available that way on Xbox. If you pre-ordered digitally, you got the game. And you got it for $4 less. So that was on sale. That was an incentive to buy, but it was a digital game. So those things are out there. We see all the time, a month later, Ubisoft titles are $20 off. You can get the collector's edition, or not the collector's, but you can get the ultimate edition, usually for the $70 of the base game. Just a month or so later. So, like, it's possible, and I don't think the sales are necessarily going to plummet and disappear like I've seen some speculate. I just don't think that's the case. You know how some purchases on PSN, some people pay more than others based on region and personal life? You know what? Yes, now that you mention it, we talked about that a while back. I just completely forgot. Which is funny because people in the chat that night were like, listen, it's going to be a big thing today, and then people will forget about it and not remember. And so, hey, that's exactly what happened. Yes, they are PS Plus sub sales. Yes. With this announcement, PlayStation discounts will be less too. I don't think they'll be less until we get closer to the implementation of this policy. All games are now essentially collector's editions. Hey, that's a fact. I might go up to my local retro store and I might just start purchasing some of the old $3 and $5 and $8 PS4 games that they have and just start rebuilding my collection. Like, I might do that. Because I was telling Will777JP this, shout out. I was telling him this. The $7 sale from GameStop, it about got me to repurchase games for $7 that I just traded back in. Like God of War Ragnarok. I own it digitally now. I had it physically, bought it physically on release, traded it back in, bought another game, and then I bought it digitally later. So now I have the digital copy. But it was $7. So like that was $7. Tiny Tina Wonderland was $7. There were so many games just for $7. And it was their 6/7 sale. And so I wanted to start doing that. And I was like, I missed it, but I was like, it'll come back around. Will was like, yeah, they always do sales like that. It's really cool that you can get a lot of games from them. He goes, that's what I do sometimes, that's how I have been able to grow my collection. And like now I could see those sales being a little less. I could see those sales being gross 6/7 sale. Yeah. I'll rebuy a sealed copy for $24. PlayStation has been doing less discounts on physical over the last couple years. Nothing new. Yeah, somebody had mentioned that a few weeks ago that they've noticed that PlayStation's first-party games don't go on sale much. And I either click with their first-party games or I don't buy them. And so, in other words, I'm either day one on their first-party titles or I generally wait for a big sale or whatnot to get them. So I don't really pay attention to how long it takes to go on sale. Also, with the addition of PS Plus, there's a lot of times where I've just been waiting for a sale and the game that I wanted comes to it. Now, that's not happened with first party yet, but that has happened with other titles. Like I was waiting for Space Marine 2 to drop below $30. That was my threshold for it. And it got close. It got to like $34.99. It got to $32.99 at one point. And I almost bought it on Steam because on Steam it hit $29.99. But on PlayStation, the lowest it got was $34 or $33. It might have been $32.99. I think it was $33. And I did not pull the trigger. Well, then the next month it came to Plus. And so you should buy physical now. The market for retro games is expected to grow from $4 billion to $11 billion by 2032. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And what's really interesting is people are thinking GameStop is going to like die now. GameStop has actually been kind of future-proofing themselves over the last few months. And I know I'm giving props to GameStop here. What the hell's wrong with me? But they have been kind of future-proofing themselves over the last few months with bringing back in their PS1, PS2, PS3, N64, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo. They're starting to dive back in to the old school market. It is so cool. I can go to my GameStop now and they have Super Nintendo games on the wall. They got Sega Genesis games on the wall. It's freaking awesome to see. And they're like, bring in your old consoles for more games. And I'm like, this is freaking sick. That's what I remember going into Funko Land when they had, oh my God, this was before everybody bought everybody. It's when you had Funko Land, EB Games, GameStop, and there was one more that, Baggage EX, one of those. There were basically 4 game companies or game stores at the time. Oh, Hero, I am not getting rid of a single PS5 that I have in this house, and I have 2 of one. Yeah, Babbage's. That's it. And like the way it worked was Funko Land bought, oh shoot. Funko Land bought Babbage EX. GameStop bought the other one that I mentioned that just left me. And then GameStop bought Funko Land. EB Games. That's it. And like, then they all kind of merged under that umbrella. But man, I used to go to Funko Land so freaking much. I loved that place. GameStop should sell new game cases with custom hardware for GameStop should sell new game cases with custom artwork. Raichi, did you mean artwork? Some of y'all are drunk texting, and y'all need to stop. Some of y'all have had a little bit of a sip and a nip, and we gotta take it easy. GameStop will end up dying. Inventory will be supplemented as it will not be supplemented as it used to be. It's like toys are with us at 8-Ball Magic. Listen, man, Funko Land was the shit, dude. You could go in there, man. I had so much fun going in there. I spent hours playing the little display PlayStation that they had. Hours. My parents would drop me off at Funko Land, and they would go, because back in the day you could just drop a kid off somewhere, and they would go shopping. They would come back and pick me up, and all I'd been doing was playing video games inside Funko Land. It was great. Some of my fondest memories. It was in Garland, Texas, and I'll never forget. You had to go through Mesquite, Texas, off the beaten path, down into Garland, and it was a part of town for sure. It is not a part of town that I would have left my kid in, but times have changed a lot since then. It was a fun time. So without a disc drive, the PS6 will be sold for $5.99. Okay, I had my mom drop me off and pick me up 6 to 8 hours later. Hell yeah, bro. That's what I did. I remembered they had a... the first time I ever played Battletoads on a Super Nintendo was at a Funko Land. And I was like, what is this? Because I'd never seen it before. And I was like, what is this? And I immediately had to buy it. Nowadays, you can't drop kids off any... Dude, nowadays, if I look around and my child's not right next to me, I freak out. Like, I'm like immediately jerking around going, where the hell is my child? Like, it's bad. We don't do that. We don't do that. Yeah, forgot a 1 at the start of the number. You forgot a 1 at the start of the number. I'm calling it now. PS6 will be $6.99 and released in 2029. I am gonna dig my... What's up, Corey? I'm going to dig my heels in as hard as I can here. I still think that we are getting the PS6. Hang on. Before I make grand statements here. The PS6 is coming in 2028 at the very end. It's releasing November of 2028. I didn't think so. I thought 2028 originally, and you can go back and check podcasts from a year and a half ago. I was saying 2028. I was saying extending it out 8 to 10 years instead of the 7 years that they have done. I was saying that they were going to go 8 years, maybe 10 years because of the 2 years that COVID screwed up distribution chains. But with this news today, I do fully believe we have an end of year 2026 release. And I am very, very interested to see what happens, because I've already said if the thing is priced too high, I'm just going to stay on PS5. And if there's no disc option, I am absolutely staying on PS5, at least for a while, for probably a year, maybe 2. The only thing that could get me to jump, everybody say it with me, the only thing that can get me to jump is what? What would get me to buy a PS6 and make the jump within the first couple months? What would do it? What would make anybody purchase a console that they wanted to? It's the games, guys. It's the games. If there's some game, and it doesn't even have to be a specific game, but if there's a game that comes out that is like, oh my gosh, I need this, whatever it would be, I can see myself caving. I don't know what that game is. I don't even think it would be Final Fantasy 17. Like Josh says, I don't have a lot of faith in Final Fantasy right now. So outside of Resonance, which is done by Team Asano, which, woohoo, those guys hit home runs. I don't really have a lot of faith in Square. I am very nervous about the amount of money that they're spending on Final Fantasy VII Remake series and how that has kind of gone down the toilet. As far as sales go, their strategies, their businesses are not in line with what I think they should be doing. But what the hell do I know? LOL 10th gen talk. I have over 500 physical games as backlog from Gen 8 and 9. So, Belle Dante, my wife and I were having that exact conversation tonight. I told her that PlayStation was ending physical games in 2028. And she goes, oh, what are you going to do? Because she knows I still like to buy physical on sale and stuff like that. And I was like, well, honey, for the past 2 years, I've said there's more games releasing than we can actually play. I've said that there's enough games that have released, and Jake Baldino made this point, there's enough games that have released that I could play games for 8 hours a day for the rest of my life and not be able to beat all the games that I probably want to. And so that's with what we have right now. Not to mention what's coming out September, October, November of this year. And then January, February, March of next year. Like, I don't think y'all quite realize we have hundreds of hours of good games coming up to just add into backlogs. And so I don't have the compulsion like I did from PS4 to PS5. I wanted a PS5 so bad I could taste the damn thing. It tasted like metal. It was a little metallic-y, and it zinged when you put your tongue to it. But I wanted it so bad I could taste it. And I got it. I paid extra for it. I got it from eBay. Every single person here knows the freaking story. I wanted it, and there was not a dang thing that was going to stand in my way. And nothing did. And I don't have that same level of... I don't have that same urging, that same desire to get a PS6. I also don't have an issue with the graphical quality on the PS5 Pro that I have. The games look great. They run well. I'm not mad at it. It's a great console. And it does what I want it to. So, anyways. Most of us are not Will 777JP. This is an incentive to backlog. So, speaking of that, I told y'all that we had talk about a year backlog will only last you about 5 to 7 years. Well, hey, listen, that's how it sits currently, though. You got to think, we still have a year and a half of new games coming out, and games going on sale that you might have missed, things that you haven't picked up yet, stuff like that. Because you've even mentioned it before, you don't buy every single game that you've wanted. Nelson Gaming, me too, sir. Me too. Mine will last me about 3 lifetimes as well. Just like for the month of July. So here's the cool thing. I have this pulled up. Like I said, guys, we do have other stuff to talk about. Look at this. We have Resident Evil Requiem coming to the Switch and PS5, Windows, Xbox. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong article. This is the right one. You got a Avatar fighting game. I'm not really into that. Rhythm Haven Gone Groovy. Doom the Dark Ages Revelation. Moonlight Peaks. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resync. So I think that's the biggest game of July. I think that's the biggest one upcoming for a lot of people. Backyard Baseball, Football 27, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Endless Ragnarok. I know some people who are excited about that. Echoes of Ankred. That's a game that looked interesting. I haven't played the demo yet. I think I probably should. Ascend to Zero. I don't even know what the hell that is. There's a lot of stuff on here that I'm like, okay, Digimon's getting or Time Stranger, sorry, is coming to the Switch. Pal World 1.0, Denshack, Heave Ho, and then Moss the Forgotten. What is that? Moss the Forgotten Relic. Like, none of these games just make me at least go, oh my god, I need them now. That's just, that they already have it for this. Okay, I wonder what they're doing different. Oh, you get all the stuff. You get all the bullshit stuff. They've added all of that. They need to add that to the PlayStation version. They need to add all that crap to the PlayStation version. Please? Dude, if they add that... No. They said they get the backwards compatibility with the original Switch release. This new version includes several features that the PC gamers have enjoyed for several years. Not only do you get enhanced visuals, but high speed mode, random encounter toggle, and several other quality of life features to make it fun to play in 2026. Dude, I need that to come to PlayStation. I need those. Do you realize how fast I would hop back in and do a full run through of that game again if I could do the whole thing where I don't lose my health or like they did with the Pixel remasters? I need that immediately. Square Enix, I know you're not listening, but just in case, you need to put that in the PlayStation version immediately. Now, Splatoon Raiders, this game is actually getting some pretty good buzz right now. They're calling it like a Borderlands mixed with Splatoon. And then Halo. And there's just not anything that I'm like, oh my god, I need it right now. So, during the month of July, before August, September, October, November hit, I will be taking that time to run through my backlog, to beat some more games that I have, 5 to 10 hours left in. The typical game in an aggressively average gamer's catalog. That's I have so many that if I just put 10 hours into them, I probably beat the game. So after I finish wrapping up the ending of Elliot, I'm going to start working on my backlog. And that worked out for me really well during the month of May. It worked out for me really well during the month of April. And it seems to be my new normal when it comes to my gaming habits. I like the idea of having a massive backlog that I can go back to, and it's almost a challenge to myself, especially as an ADHD brained person, to complete something I started, even if it's years down the road, like Horizon Zero or Forbidden West. Like, the only good thing about that is it's taking Guerrilla a pretty decent amount of time to make the next game, so I still have time to beat this one. But I'm like halfway through now, which is cool. I've already gotten the second program, which is pretty cool. Like, but I have a backlog, and so when people are like, "You're gonna get the PS6 when it comes out," maybe, but maybe not. Like, I'm still looking at games from last year, from 2 years ago, that I'm like, man, once that gets to $10, it's mine. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I played it in Plus, and now I want to play it again. It's $13.99 on PlayStation. I'm probably going to buy it Because if I go to Amazon right now, or let's just do this. Tiny Tina Wonderland on PS5. Here we go. Let's see what it says. Yeah, it's $13.99 on the PS Store, or it's $9.49 plus $9 shipping on GameStop. It's $12.99 on Play Asia. $9.99. Oh no, that's the DLC. The PS5 edition is $25 in some places. So like, it's not. Or Golden Apple Comics has it for $54.99 plus shipping and handling. So like, you know, there's games coming that are on sale that I will be picking up. My backlog grows every month, and because of that, I don't see the pressure or the desire needed to go up to a PS6 that quick. Now, in 2 years, y'all can remind me of this if I'm foaming at the mouth going, oh my God, I need a PS6. I need a PS6. Hey guys, I need a PS. Like, I need to get, like, if I start going absolutely batshit crazy, I need y'all to bring me back to this episode and go, hey, Thrifty, you said that you didn't need one. You said you didn't need one. Gorilla is focusing on their live service. We won't see Horizon 3 until PS6, probably. It depends on how long the generation goes, but I could see that. They've already, in my opinion, fulfilled that one big game for this console. That sucks to say, but man, it feels like that's the requirement unless you're Insomniac. Interesting. Your backlog is just the games I got from Epic for free. Yeah, and you know what? If Epic had good controller support, I would play on Epic, but fuck Epic. I can't stand Epic. They don't have controller support. I've tried to use the plugin that you do when you put like the Epic Store in your Steam thingy, and because Steam has the controller mapping, but yeah, it doesn't work. You can change your mind. Who sounds stupid? What? The market has spoken. They don't buy physical media anymore. You can change your mind. No, you just sound stupid. The opportunities everywhere. Until 2030. If I get one, that's about the time I think I'll get one too. Probably I'll go back to when I used to. See, it's going to be different too, because back in the day, it wasn't a choice to have to wait a year and a half to get the new console. That just wasn't a choice. It was just life. Now it's a choice, and I think my choice is going to be to wait. Especially with how long of a tail the freaking PS4 had this cycle. Like, good Lord. Heck, there's still new games coming out for the PS4 right now. Hey, Rachie, if I didn't like people who had different opinions than me, I would have a very, very short list. It's the difference between getting along with people and being able to have discussions, even though you don't see eye to eye, and being able to be a grown-up about it, versus having to always reach for, like, it's always said in a debate, if you have to reach for name calling, you've run out of good points to talk about. Or if you reach for anger, or if you let your emotions take over in a debate, there's a decent chance that you've kind of run out of things to talk about. So you're now just trying to put emotion behind it to make the point seem better. It's like when you're trying to convince somebody. Remember when you were a kid and you were trying to convince your parents that you didn't eat the last cookie off the pan? Or maybe some of y'all wasn't fat asses like I was. Maybe like you didn't lift the weights and didn't put them back in the garage. Like that wasn't you. Remember you tried to gaslight your own parents? Like, that's sometimes what happens when we're arguing, because we try to put the emotion and they're like, no, I didn't do it. What are you talking about? Why would, and like we try to put emotion behind it just to convey that we are serious, quote unquote. And a lot of times it doesn't require all that. And a lot of times people, especially in the gaming circles, just want to get upset to be upset. And They want people to make these hard and fast stances, and everything has to be a hard and fast. And if you said it, that's exactly what you believe, and you can't have nuance, and you can't have anything. And when you try to talk in nuance, you're told that no, you just said this, you had to say it this way. Why did you say it that? Well, because I'm just talking. So the gaming conversation is hard to have with people in earnest, because a lot of the gaming conversation turns into an emotionally charged conversation. It just does. And that part of it had become super annoying for me. That's why the entire tone of the show has changed. I mean, the entire tone of the show has changed. Because I got to the point where I was tired of being angry, and I was tired of being snippy, and I was tired of always trying to look for the angle. That's annoying, and that's stressful, and I didn't like it. So I stopped. How dare you want 50 the VVG. I don't know what that means, but we know Outsider Gaming Night's been drinking. People say I wouldn't do a lot of things like stop watching sports or playing fantasy football. Been 6 years and still ain't seen a Super Bowl. So, Nelson, funny enough, I've watched one football game in the past 2 seasons. And it was a game that the Cowboys lost, and I was screaming at the TV, very angry. And I was like, you know what? I don't need this in my life, and I haven't watched it since. We were at the Super Bowl party at my friend's house, and was that this year? Did the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl this year? I don't remember. But we were at my buddy's house. It was either this year or last year for his Super Bowl party. It was the year that Kendrick did his halftime show. And I was like, so who's playing? Because I didn't know. I knew Kendrick was doing a halftime show because the halftime show was fire. By the way, if anybody would like to know, yes, I do know all the words to that song. They are fantastic. But I don't watch sports anymore. I will follow baseball a little bit, which is funny because that's my least favorite sport. But I got out of basketball when people started making super teams, and they just kept leaving, and you were never able to catch on as a fan base. And I was like, well, this is stupid. And then it turned into the same thing with college football, where you can't latch on to a player because they already used to only be there for 4 years, but now they're there for a year, and then they transfer out, and then somebody else comes in, and then they transfer out, and then somebody else comes in. So there's no continuity. So I didn't like it. And that is something I never thought that I would say. I never thought in a million years that I would not watch football. I am a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. I have Dallas Cowboy cups. I have Dallas Cowboy Stanleys. I have, not Stanleys, Yetis. I have Dallas Cowboy stuff. I like the Cowboys. They are my team. But I haven't watched but one game in the past 2 seasons. Thrifty the Angry. The NBA and NFL is rigged anyway. So is baseball. Let's not act. You've become boring, Kratos. And yet you still come back every week. What does that say about you? I know who I am. What does that say about y'all? You are... Hey, listen. Corey, I know. Please go back and read my unedited comment and then look at the response you said after that and tell me I overreacted. You don't need to be angry about everything. Fun fact. You don't need to be angry about 80% of the crap that we're angry about. You just don't. It's quite stupid, to be honest. And once you realize that, once you realize it's pretty dumb to be as angry as we get about certain things, anger ages you. See, and that's the thing. I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 back in May. Which, by the way, guys, if y'all didn't get me a gift, totally okay. You can subscribe, you can like, And if you wanted to get me a gift, you could join and become a member, or you could do a super chat. See, there's so many different ways. Anyways, I became a 40-year-old, and that I have people all the time at work when I go into their houses or whatnot to service their units or what have you. And they're always like, you don't look 40. You don't look like you should have a kid who's 12 and another one who's 7. And I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that, because I drink my water. I try not to get angry at stupid stuff. And so like, it takes so much energy to be mad. The other side of it is, I don't necessarily think apathy is the correct response either. It has just become my default, because if I care too much about something, I get extremely passionate, and I will usually say stuff that I either A, don't mean, B, flew off the handle, or C, both. And so that's the other thing. When you let emotions run your statements, you say stuff that you don't usually mean. And so, anyways, I say that all the time. The larger gaming community doesn't care about 90% of the topics that make waves online. Josh, you are very apathetic, and sometimes it makes me want to Bart Simpson you. I'm not even going to joke. I'm not even kidding. I want to take both of my hands around your neck and go, show some emotion. And that's because I am very expressive. I'm very expressive. You will know how I am, feel, or act by just like my face. RPG88, what's up, dude? We're talking about me strangling Josh because he's apathetic. He is like, I am apathetic to a little bit. He is apathetic to like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Cool. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. And that stems, though, I think at least, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, that stems from an understanding that these companies are going to do whatever the hell they want to do, and you can either go along with it or you can stop. That's it. That's why I like Josh. He seems rather normal in a sea of crazed people online. And I think that's what it does stem from. It stems from that realization, and that's something that I've kind of adopted a little bit in that regard. Like, you know what? You're right. Because this is something that him and I have been talking about for quite some time in the back end of things, like some of the DEI stuff in games, some of all that crap. And like, it's my choice to play those titles if I want to. It is. It's my choice. I am not required to purchase them. I'm not required to watch the trailers. I'm not required to be a part of them. I'm not required to talk about them on the stream. I'm not required to do a dang thing if I do not want to. It is 100% my choice. What's up, Nate? I see you, dude. That's a new angle for the show. This is what happens when it's just me. We're going to have people in the comments, the same people who were wanting me to continue to do shows by myself, and go, we can't let Thrifty do that anymore. It doesn't turn out well. He starts threatening the audience. But we're just in it for the ride, boys. We lost the wheel a long time ago. No, dude, we didn't lose it. No. Please make no mistake about it. We didn't lose it. We gave that shit away wrapped in a Christmas bow. We gave that crap away so fast. Do y'all remember when Movies Anywhere came out? It was called something different before it was called Movies Anywhere. It was called like Voodoo. It was called Voodoo, but even before that, it was something different. But they were like, man, you can get these, purchase them. You get the physical disc, you get the Blu-ray, and you get the digital code so you can watch it wherever you want. And then it turned into, oh, I'm just going to put this digital code in my computer or in my cloud library, and then I'm not even going to touch the disc anymore because now I have it on the cloud. I can access it anytime I want. Next time a new movie came out, did you really want to think about buying the physical? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you're like, crap, I'll just buy the digital. There were some movies that I've bought only digital. And not a lot, but a few. And we gave the wheel away. We chose to give them the wheel. We got cooked like a bunch of freaking lobsters in a pan. And it was all under the disguise of convenience. And so because of that, because we decided just to give it away, like a hoe on Beale Street on July 4th weekend, like, that is something that we need to be aware of. When PlayStation gaslights us and says that they are following market trends, yeah, that's kind of gaslighty, but also it's kind of accurate. So they're gaslighting us, but they're gaslighting us with facts, which sucks. Because then we realize, even me, who griped because I got Adventures of Elliot physically, but I wanted to play it on 3 different devices whenever I wanted to. The way you do that easily without having to swap disc or crap is by having it physically, or by having it digitally, I mean. And Nate, what are you doing here?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm here for a short time, not a long time.
Okay.
No, but just obviously, like I'm in a particular situation myself where I've been on PC, like I said, since the 90s. I've got the Switch. I usually have everything, within reason, right?
Come on, man. I've seen your setup. Sometimes it's not within reason. Let's just.
I mean, it was within reason when I bought it.
let's just say your setup is not always within reason. But go ahead. I understand the premise.
Yeah. By today's prices, it's not within reason, even for myself. But I already own it, so I don't have to pay that price. But yeah, like the big thing, like, because we talked about it, right? Like Hero was mentioning, he's like, I'm locked in, right? Like, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I was like, the problem, though, that PlayStation honestly has to face, right, is from a couple different directions. So you've already seen how I buy games, right? Like, I look at the games coming out, I'm checking performance, first of all, and I have all available platforms. Switch's exclusives, because, that's what it is. They're never going to be the performance king, at least not this generation. So it's either PS5 Pro or it's PC.
Y'all have driven me to drink. I want y'all to know that.
I believe it.
Kraken, Malibu, and coffee and Coke.
But I mean, the reality is that, like, for me, like I said, like, I already have been in both ecosystems, but I also have over 800 games, right, on PlayStation already in my library. And that doesn't include, that doesn't really include the majority of my physical titles that are not installed or whatever, right? Like, that's a healthy amount, right? Like, I am up there when it comes to purchasing on that platform, especially as someone who is a multi-platform user. Now, obviously, my approach is what PlayStation would prefer for future reference. Like, I've managed to do certain things to mitigate costs when it comes to digital when I want it day one. Like I said, me and Morgan share.
That's true.
We share and go across, so that's one of the benefits of the digital, right? Why I've bought digital sometimes, and I've bought digital for other reasons. Like, sometimes I get the PS4 and the PS5 version. Yes, I'm greedy like that. I want both versions. So, a lot of times I'll get the platinum for like Persona 3 Reload. I'm working on the platinum for the PS4 and the PS5 version.
Right.
They are cross progression. I can play the PS4 version, send it over to the PS5 version, double platinum if I want. So again, there are benefits. I'm not saying there's no benefits, right? Like, digital is cool, but the biggest problems that PlayStation faces is digitally, they have no permanent price cuts, which multiple people have shown examples of this, right?
Yeah.
Brick and mortar stores do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it? Warhammer 40K, right? 2 or whatever it's called. Warhammer the last one, but it's like $24.99 or something at like every store right now. But on PlayStation, it's $60 to $70 or
Yes.
$69.99.
Right.
Because when it's not on sale, it goes back to max price. Now, I'm not saying they're the only people that do that, but the problem is they're the only people where the only place you can get the game digital is directly from them. Xbox, Nintendo, and Steam all have alternatives, even when they're not on sale.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say that they don't need a permanent price cut. They definitely do. Like digital stores have been needed to do that, especially PlayStation, because like I said, they were the only place to get them. That's a big thing they're gonna have to really deal with because as stated, as people said on the show earlier, being used titles or these permanent price cuts or these bigger drops from brick and mortar stores are how some of them were able to afford the games that they finally wanted, right? We've talked about it multiple times. You don't purchase more than 3 full price AAA titles per year, right?
Yep.
That's a very specific limit. And like, yes,
This year it's
variable
kicking me
pricing
in
has
the
become.
dick, by the way, but yes.
Oh no, but it is, right? But I mean, you've gotten away with it somehow because
I have.
some of the titles are not 70,
They're
right?
not
So you're like,
70.
ooh,
That's right.
yeah. So variable
Not
pricing
70.
is important, and that's something that's become even more prevalent. So some of the benefits are showing up, right? Like they are some of the people are paying attention, but it needs to become universal. Is the difference, right? When consumer rights are in front and center, it becomes a universal truth. Like you don't have to ask yourself, can you find that game on sale? You can because Target sells it, GameStop sells it, Walmart sells it. Someone has it in offer up at the worst, offer up or Facebook Marketplace. Like you can hop on there and somebody's like, "Oh, I'm done with this title. I don't want it. $20. Somebody come get it." But if you can't do that anymore, there needs to be some place or something in place to mitigate that or basically replace that ability, right? Like I just talked about the other day. I let my nephew borrow. I happen to own it both because I'm ridiculous like that, and Persona 5 Royale is banging. But I let him borrow my PS5 physical copy of Persona 5 Royale. Again, I have no way of doing that if all I did was own it digitally. So like stuff like that is kind of ridiculous, right? Like that's a choice I can make to a cat, like you said, to with caveats, right? I can't just play it on my PlayStation whenever I want via remote play because it's physical, right? Like you said with Elliot a minute ago. But we are aware of these choices, and the fact is they are
Right.
choices, and that's the important part. When you start removing choices and you start getting us down to little to no choice, that's when you have a problem. I don't care if it's 85% of the market. That's not the point. It's a choice. So when you start removing those choices, you need to give us alternatives to those choices going forward. I mean, and like I said, either you're going to give them to us, or that is when, like I said, they run into these roadblocks and these regulations and these lawsuits coming against them that were coming against them, mind you, before this announcement. This announcement just gave these suits against them even more ammo because, like I said, PlayStation is the only digital store right now that doesn't have any other place to
Yeah, but in
get their
2 years,
title.
in a year and a half, that goes away.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's the problem, right? Like, so now PlayStation is saying, hey, Walmart and all them are still going to be able to sell them, and they're just going to be a digital code. I was like, you say that, but realistically, when do you take that away? Like I know you don't want that cut. So
Well, I don't think they
realistically, when do you
can.
take that away? I mean, we hope not, right?
I mean, they've been
But
sued into oblivion by the EU. I think it's been 3
well,
times this generation. Like,
yeah, I mean they have, and it's about to get worse because, like I said, there's a bunch of other circumstances that are not being addressed when you go fully digital, right?
wait a minute. You don't think that this I think you must have missed the first part of the show because I think that
Okay.
actually satisfies the EU because now they're not the only digital platform. They're not the only place you can buy the digital copies of the games. Now you'll be able to go to Walmart, Best Buy, and all that, and they can look at you and go, "Yeah,
I don't
no,
think the
we let
reason
them
I don't think it'll
everywhere."
satisfy it, right, is because digitally that might not be the only place. So like, okay, so when I say digitally, I'm talking about other digital storefronts like Green Man Gaming and some of these other places that I've kind of told you about when you came to PC. I
Hmm.
think those are going to have to be incorporated more because, like I said, there's so many things that are being cut out when you're not you don't have that physical product, right? And then we don't know the regulation that's going to change when that code is digital versus physical, right? Like it seems the same. They're selling you the same game, but now it's this digital code. We don't know what kind of implementations PlayStation will have in place to mitigate price drops and other things, depending on what kind of goes on here, right? When they do finally be like, oh, Walmart and all them can still sell it, yeah, but at what cost? Like what changes with that, right? Like it always seems like nothing changes, but half the time we don't get the backroom deals, right? We don't see the new contracts, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I'm just saying that has to be considered. That I mean, to me, if they're smart, they would consider these things. Like I said, being able to, um, borrow a game and stuff like that. That going away is going to be a big issue for a lot of people. The used market being removed, still a big issue for a lot of people. I'm not saying me personally, right? Like, because I know some people are like, they're like, oh, all these people are being performative, blah blah blah. My collection is probably, honestly, it probably is 85% digital. Like, I'm not gonna hold you, but that's because I also have um the PlayStation Remote Play, stuff like that, and then I have them digital for other reasons. And then of course I also have Steam, which of course is fully digital. But then when it comes to Nintendo, I only buy physical. So there's just a bunch of things that are kind of on the chopping block here that I'm just not sure they're ready to handle come 2028. I also think it was kind of silly to say it this early, to be honest.
Right?
They should have said this in like February next year and you would have got the same reaction. Not saying it would have been any better. What I'm saying is you're on your run up to 100 million sales in one of the most critical turning points for ramping up new users in your current
And you
ecosystem,
pull an
and you
Xbox
shoot
and open
yourself
your
in the
mouth
foot.
when you don't have to.
Exactly. I was like, what are you doing? And now you got people out here overreacting, going crazy, like in the current state, acting like this is happening tomorrow. I'm not pre-ordering nothing. I'm going PC tomorrow. Like I'm PC for life. And I'm just like, oh my God, here we go. So now the whole week, this is going to be the whole discussion, and it's going to go crazy, and it's going to go on for weeks, and until a lot of solutions for those things that I was talking about come into play, right? The ability to borrow a game and such and so on. So like there is a solution for that for Nintendo, and that's the virtual cards. When you have them digitally, I can go to my nephew's and give him a game from my catalog digitally and let him borrow it, and it has like a 2 or 3 week timer on it or something. It's not perfect, but I can still let him borrow the game even if it was digitally. Now obviously that's a
And
mobile
who does
console,
that?
so that makes sense. Switch 2 does.
Oh, that's right. That was part of their stuff.
Yeah. So obviously I could let him borrow a physical one easily, but at least digitally, they also have the ability to borrow that game. It disappears from my catalog for a bit, goes over to his, and now it's under his name and he can play it. Like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Something like that needs to take place on PlayStation that isn't necessarily tied to just family. Like Steam has like a okay thing, um, where the Steam family, but that's also limited to like 6 people.
Mm.
So, me letting somebody borrow my game, like I've let my previous neighbor borrow Expedition 33. My nephew has Expedition 33 now, and then I'm gonna let my new neighbor borrow Expedition 33 when I get it back. There's no limits. I
Because
can let
doing the
whoever
Lord's
borrow.
work is necessary.
Right?
That's
Exactly. I'm putting the word out. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you this greatness.
you gonna
You
make sure
know?
folks have that game has the longest legs possible.
Absolutely.
Stacy Keebler type legs.
I'm telling you. Like
Not many
I'm like,
folks are gonna
okay.
get that reference. If you catch that reference in the chat, you need to let me know. Because that
But
was
yeah,
the
man,
best
like
era of wrestling ever.
Oh, I remember Stacy Keebler well, so I know what you're
The
talking about.
Dudley Boys. Devon, get the
Absolutely. They,
tables. That's
they put about 1,000 people through a table
dude.
in their time
That's
up
the
there.
next sound clip I'm gonna put on here. It's the get the tables. Start sending folks like Hiroki Totoki through tables and shit.
Right?
But no, and I
Yeah, and
agree.
that's what I'm saying. So I do agree, Corey. They got it out early, but I think they just got it out too early. I'm not saying tell it a 10, I'm not saying tell it, in August next year. I'm saying like literally like February 1st next year would have been perfectly fine. I'm personally not shooting myself in the foot at a time when people are going out and buying my console in record numbers
Uh-huh.
when I'm at an all-time high. I am basically the de facto console for the what is potentially the greatest launch this entire generation will ever see. Like, I'm just saying, that seems like a really, really stupid thing to do just because your competitor ain't Jack. Like, I
Yeah,
get it. Xbox has murdered themselves, repeatedly at this
continuing
point.
to.
And yeah, revived themselves, cleared, and got back up and, killed themselves again. Like, I get it, right? Like, it's a whole thing. But that doesn't mean you should be like, oh, let me sabotage myself while I'm at it, because I'm doing so much better than them. I could afford to tell some nonsense. And it's like, I'm not saying don't say it. I'm just saying don't say it right now. like, like, don't make people second guess when they're rushing out to get your console at a critical junction when you're, like I said, you're about to cross 100 million sales. Like, that was just silly to me. Still be transparent, but in February.
Right. Like
But yeah.
here's the other thing. You have Ghost of no, fuck that. I'm sorry. You have Wolverine coming out and
Mm-hmm.
you have God of War Laufey coming out.
And Phantom Blade
Laufey
Zero.
and Phantom Blade Zero, and
Yep.
you also have other systems. Well, never mind. I'm not going to put that on them. Fuck them. You have those three titles you just mentioned coming out. You have Tides of Annihilation coming out next year, which Xbox has the marketing on, but I've seen it and I only think PlayStation. It reminds me of just a PlayStation over-the-shoulder action game, and I can't wait to play that damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
You do- That's actually a really good point that we can talk about. You don't need to sit there and shoot your own damn leg off just to be like, hey, you know what, guys? We got some good press. We got a hell of a lot of good publicity. Deborah Ann Wool has won over everybody between her and Corey talking. They've won over 90% of the people who hated God of War Laufey. This is going to be amazing. Hey, I know. Let's piss them all off again. And let's get them fighting amongst themselves, because that's what we need, is a divided player base. Because, it works so well for Xbox over the last 6 years. Let's see how it works for us. PlayStation has done some dumb shit. And Sean Layden saying, being a pompous asshole and being very accurate all at the same time, saying that he's like, I love it when people comment on this like they have years of experience and data and see the numbers in the back end, and they know exactly what's going on, as opposed to people who actually work in those rooms. To which, F you, dog. But also, he's right to a point. Like, I don't know the numbers. I don't know what's going on. To me, it just looks like another another like avenue for control. Like, especially when, man, PlayStation did, listen, PlayStation just yanked movies like Terminator, Annihilation. They yanked a couple other movies about like the apocalypse and like the end of the world, and they've also yanked other movies about like, robots and machines taking over. It's coincidental that on that list of 500 movies, a couple of them dealt with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little like, we don't want you to see what could happen when machines take over. Cool. Now, I'm not saying that's what they did. I just thought it was interesting that Terminator 2 was one of the movies that got lost, because that thing is all about machines taking over, government control, pulling the wool over your eyes, and all that type of stuff. Like, it's literally a dive into the Matrix is what it is. Like, so you don't need to cause that kind of panic. Like Nate just said, you are creeping quickly up to 100 million sales. you had your worst month ever of the generation, even including your COVID months back in May because of the price hike. It has been reported that you spend $900 making a PS5 Pro. And so you're not making any money off of your console anymore. Great. It has also been reported that you're losing money on your console in Japan just to sell it at a reduced price to try to gain the market, and you consider that a worthy investment. Cool. That doesn't mean in this very pivotal moment where every dollar gets crunched that you really want to piss off even 20% of your base. Like, that's the thing that kills me, is that there is that, or sorry, 15%. There is that 15%, but there's also a lot of that 80% that still do dip their toe into that 15% number, right? Like, I don't know a lot of gamers who are all one or all the other, okay? I do know a couple. I know that Salty is all digital, has been for years. Since the start of this generation, he's been all digital. I know a couple others who are all digital. We have a couple of them in the Discord. Me, I'm like 80, 90% digital, but I play PlayStation first party on disc. I don't know why, but I do. I also get, like I said, all my Final Fantasy on disc. And then I usually trade the disc back in, and I keep, like, what I'm going to do with Final Fantasy VII Revelation is I'm going to get the collector edition. And, well, let me rephrase that. I'm going to get whatever steelbook there is. I don't buy $300 collector editions yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by just getting the deluxe, which is going to come with a steelbook, probably will come with a map or some little chocobo or whatever. Then I will trade the game in, keep the cool shit, and then buy it digitally. Which, funny enough, is the same thing. I'm just adding extra steps as people who are purchasing the collector's editions of games, getting all the cool shit, and getting a digital code. So, really, do I have a dog in this fight? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't like that I don't have a choice, though. That's where the problem comes in for me, is I just don't like that I don't have a choice. But
well, yeah, I mean, and you should dislike that, because experience has shown you when companies remove choice, that results in you getting screwed.
I was gonna say, when they remove choice, I'm about to get wrecked.
Of the time. Yeah. Like I explain this to people with my ISP all the time, right? My ISP, for the longest, while there's tons of people I know that have ISP, internet service provider, for people who don't understand that, sorry.
For people who didn't get the AOL disc as kids.
Yeah. So, like, but for the longest, they charged, I had to pay a $50 extra charge on top of my regular bill to have unlimited internet, because they charged for going over the limit that they give you. And their fight on that is less than 1% of their user base goes over the limit. And I'm like, but I don't care. Because I'm like, I go over the limit. I go over the limit all the time. But I pay for the internet. And I'm like, that's stupid. If it's less than 1%, then you shouldn't be making much money off of it to begin with.
Wait, so your internet's capped?
It's not anymore. But that's what I'm getting to. But a lot of them are still capped.
Seriously?
To yes, 1.2 terabytes. A lot of them put it up to 1.2 when it was 1.1 during COVID and stuff. But again, most people will actually exceed that now, even in regular households, right? Obviously, I do way more stuff on my internet than most people. But my point was, like, they were doing it just because they could, right? So, prime example, the moment, and I can't even get Google Fiber yet. Google Fiber is back deploying in my area. The moment Google Fiber even breathed that they were back in this area, I got a call from my ISP and was like, hey, you know that $127 bill that you pay each month? Hey, we're going to cut that down to $60. And you no longer are capped. The caps disappeared overnight. They called me. I ain't got to call them. They called me to tell me we cut your bill in half. $60 flat. Because you know why? Because $70 is what Google Fiber costs.
So
there you go. Competition immediately because I had a choice. And they know I have a choice. So they got scared before the choice even got here.
So
That is the danger of removing choice.
the place that I live in, they had, so we have like a conglomerate utility company here. They do electric, they do water, they do sewage, they do the trash pickup, and they do the internet. They can't control gas because that would be a monopoly. It's close enough anyways. But if you look at the surrounding areas, we pay on average 25, 30% less for all of our utilities because it's all in one place. So we do get kind of a benefit. Anyways, I used to have AT&T Uverse because AT&T put their fiber optic in and the Uverse coax cables would connect into the fiber optic. And so I would spend $69.99 a month unless they gave out a promotion for new members. And then I would spend 20 minutes in the virtual chat with either a bot or an actual person. I would get them to commit to giving me the new price. I would take a screenshot of it. And then when they argued with me, I'd get 2 months for free and I'd get the discount going in for another 12 months. Anyways, really fun game I played with AT&T. Well, the company in the city I live, not AT&T, didn't change their prices, didn't do anything, and they were still charging $100 for like half the speed. Well, AT&T Uverse, or AT&T decides they're gonna drop the Uverse TV and bring on DirecTV, and then there was a transition that happened between that. During that transition, my city updated all of their own lines and switched over to fiber optic. Once they had the ability to do it, I got a letter in the mail that said, "Hey, dear valued customer, we would like you to know that we have now completed our fiber optic installation in your area. You are now available for fiber optic speeds at a very reduced price." So now I have what's called managed Wi-Fi, where I have a pod in my office, a pod in the living room, and a actual router that both of those pods go into. And I pay like $70 a month for all of it. And what it does is it basically gives me a hard line in my office that the hard line is Wi-Fi'd to the router, if I'm explaining that correctly. So it acts like its own router via Wi-Fi and managed Wi-Fi. So because my computer right now is pulling so much bandwidth, managed Wi-Fi is going to shut down part of the house. Anyways, really cool system. Got off track. Really cool system that I get for very cheap now, because that same system with AT&T was going to cost me $100. Well, my city came in and said, "Hey, listen, we know we've been screwing up the past several years, and now we're trying to get all of our clients back." Fun fact, AT&T Uverse is almost down to like a 20% penetration in our city. Everybody swapped back over because we got a 30% or a 30% price break. So it's that same scenario that Innate was mentioning, and I lived that. Like that was something that happened. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Okay, hang on. Thrifty, I don't know what that means. Anymore, they are just daring y'all to either leave or shut. Yes, Corey, that's it. That's it, right there. Corey hit the nail on the head, or hit the head on the nail, whichever one, depending on how your day's gone. But like, that's it. That's.
Yeah, I don't even disagree with Corey. Like I agree.
I don't.
But my thing is, they say they don't care until companies always say that until the bottom line falls out from under them, and then they're like, "Oh snap!" Like because once the like it's always about the money, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, if you feel like, oh well, the only people we're gonna potentially lose is a percentage of that physical base, but if the fallout inadvertently causes doubles that percentage and you lose 30%, that's going to be pretty obvious. And then depending on what 30% you lose is also part of the problem, right? Like if you lost me, I'm a much bigger problem than someone who just plays 2K each year, because you're talking about someone who often spends $1,500 or more each year on gaming, like, and largely PlayStation being my primary. Like, that's the kind of problem you don't want. And a lot of people over the past couple of years, despite, prices going up now for everything, right, have gotten into PC gaming, and you're pushing them because they're like, if I don't see a difference in what is offered over here, and they're already liking that way they're headed, and they already have the hardware, what's to stop them from continuing to invest over there more? And that, like I said, that's the issue. One of the things people forget that's such a big revenue driver for PlayStation is their third-party sales. So if we turn around and we just go, hey, next generation, that 30% drop off because X amount of people decided, hey, maybe they still pick up the console, but the majority of their sales, unless it's exclusive, basically, I start treating them like I treat my Switch, right? And basically, which is I buy Fire Emblem currently and the Xenoblade series. That's basically it. Like, something has to be exclusive, and otherwise, like, I'm not buying it. And Fox buys Zelda. That's the potential issue, right? Like, now that's not an issue for Nintendo, because I'm the minority in people who treat Nintendo that way, right? The people who just have it for those exclusives, like that, like, Nintendo's fine with that, right? People will buy a bunch of stuff from Nintendo, and they produce way more. The Donkey Kongs, that, like I said, 15 different versions of Zelda, 15 different versions of Mario, all this other stuff. They're fine with that. They have a nice balance, and they have a diehard enough fan base that purchase a ton of content on there, as long as you can provide it on the Switch, right? The amount of people that are still not over the novelty of anything that doesn't look like a cartoon being on the Switch 2 is crazy to me. Like, and these are people with higher end systems, right? PS5 Pros, even PCs. I've seen people go out of their way and get these titles on the Switch 2. And again, that's still third party revenue that they are losing, that they could have had.
See, that's something I wasn't even expecting. With the Switch, it's always, I did not think the attach rate of people actually like wanting to play third-party games on a Switch would have actually like taken off, because like, I'll be honest,
done way better than I thought.
But somebody posted a screen, and they're all fake screenshots, but somebody posted a screenshot of somebody playing GTA 6 on a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and a Nintendo Switch. And kudos to whoever did it, because the PS5 and the Xbox Series S version, like, all the foliage was there, the palm trees looked great, and then on the Switch version, like, the palm trees had like three leaves on them, and they looked almost like the Halo pipe cleaner trees. And I was like, why would anybody in their right fucking mind want to play this on a Switch 2? I'll never understand it. I don't understand how somebody could look at you and go, hey, this game is available for $60 on a console that costs the exact same, or $70 on a console that costs the exact same as this handheld, and it's going to be 60 FPS, and it's going to be 1440p, and it's going to have ray tracing, and it's going to have all this other stuff. Where do you want to play? I'll play it on Switch. What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I literally, I'm in a group chat where I literally watch it happen all the time.
Fucking crazy.
Like Resident Evil came out, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's on the Switch too!" And like half of them picked it up on Switch 2, and all of them have PS5 Pro.
I don't fucking get that.
Or PCs on top of that.
I just
I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking? Like, I'm just giving up. Like, I literally don't get it. I'm like, why would you want to play the worst version of a game when you already own the other platform?
I love that.
Like, I get it if you would need to buy the other platform, but you already own it. And then one of them I get on all the time, and I told him, I was like, all right, you clearly just got too much money these days. He will frequently purchase them for the novelty of playing it on Switch 2, and then turn around and then buy it for PS5 as well, for his PS5 Pro. And I'm just like, okay, so you're doubling up, like, on to no one's fault but your own. Like, and that's crazy to me, because I'm like, you could have just played it at the highest fidelity and frame rate to begin with. Like, I'm just like, I'm at a loss. I'm absolutely at a loss. But again, like you said, I don't get it. But we don't have to get it. The problem becomes it now he's doubling up, right? Most people are not going to double up. They're going to pick it up on Switch and Switch 2, and then they're just going to keep it moving. But that's what I said. The problem is all these other alternatives. And like I said, yes, I agree with Corey that they anticipate some amount of anger, some amount of fallout. But I'm just not sure how much they anticipated versus what they got. Because it's not been pretty today. It's not been pretty today. Like, I mean, there's people commenting on this that I never would have thought were commenting on this. I mean, Trevor Noah just commented on this like a couple hours ago, and I was like, what? Like, like you don't want major celebrity accounts and stuff commenting on this stuff and getting in the way. There's other things to consider, right, about the physical thing, which I think they're missing that kind of kill this, right? Some of the people I've heard of and talked about recently that are gamers that are actors and actresses. I'm telling you, as somebody who used to work with productions for about 3.5 years, there's a lot of times where they're on location where they don't really have internet or all these other things, and they're playing these titles where, like you said, something like Does It Play, right, is crucial for them because it's like, I'm on location and we're going to be here for 2 or 3 weeks, and I want that new game. Somebody went to go pick it up for me. I want to just, drop it in there and play. Because we're on a site right now where we just don't have internet. I'm not saying these things are 100%. I'm saying you want these things as an option, in situations like that, or in situations where somebody is underway, submarines and stuff. That they heavily depended on the ability to just put a disc in and play, right? Like, again, I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm saying this is the goodwill you're potentially giving up when you do these types of things. And I just think people always underestimate the amount of people that get affected by these things because you live in an environment where we don't have to worry about it. Not you, but people that do. I mean, I have gigabit internet and stuff. I'm not saying I don't. A bunch of the stuff, like I said, like I'm in the most advantageous situation ever, like when it comes to this stuff. But I'm also not a fool. I knew people up to 2 years ago who had like dial-up internet or like satellite level speed, like extremely slow internet for the longest time. And it's like, that was in the United States, mind you, like 20 minutes from me because of certain circumstances with the way zoning worked and all this other stuff. And it's weird. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not, but then don't get me started on rural areas because I used to work for AT&T Uverse. I know people who used to pay for crazy amounts,
Yep.
and they could, what they were told?
You used to work for Uverse?
Yeah, I used to work for Uverse.
So when they bought DirecTV and tried to start phasing out Uverse, and that's when I left them because DirecTV sucked butt, and Uverse, the Uverse TV was amazing. I loved my Uverse TV, but that's when I stopped with cable.
A bunch of people really enjoyed it, but like I said, I knew because I specifically worked in Uverse business, so we had a lot more tools, and I was like basically the escalation team, so I could see how far someone was from like our D-Slam, which is basically the origin point of the signal, and like there was just nothing I could do. I'm like, dude, you're at the end of the signal. Like, this guy wanted to run like a radio station and was calling in like, is there nothing we could do? And I'm just like, honestly, our hands were tied because you were at the end of it. And there's like, yeah, he seems like a one-off, but I also talk to customers all the time when we had to do residential switchover and stuff like that. And it was like, I talked to this one couple, I didn't even know how they were watching Netflix. They had like 1.8 Mbps. I was like, how is your Netflix working? Like, does it normally work? Are you sure? Like this is the stuff we're dealing, and this is in the United States. And I'm like, bro, if the United States has all these gaps and all this terrible infrastructure, what do you think about other countries? With the exception of somewhere like South Korea and Japan, where they're pretty ballin'. But even Japan has like rural areas and stuff, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, I don't think, as Brap would say, the juice is worth the squeeze to do this early, to commit this hard to like an absolute cutoff, especially at a time where, as much as people brought up those other things, right, movies and music, you can still purchase physical versions of both of those things. In fact, I do, even though I have my own movie server. I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition or whatever it's called of the Project Hail Mary 4K Ultimate Blu-ray because I don't have space on my server to take up 40 plus gigs of data for a movie. Like, so I get those specifically that way for some of my favorite movies. I need the disc to read that damn thing. Like, I need that option still in order to get the highest fidelity possible in color reproduction of movies that are some of my favorites. I have it for Interstellar. I have it for Ready Player One. I have it for a ton of things. I still need that option. Yes, Spotify and YouTube serve me really well when it comes to music. But my two nieces recently, for the Christmas last and the one before that, they both got vinyl record players because the analog stuff is hot right now. And she went and purchased Selena and a bunch of other stuff and all this stuff on vinyl.
Selena's good.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can still purchase that stuff. It's still an option to this day, despite most of us listening to music, via digital somehow. So that's what, like, it seems so weird to me to just cut that avenue off 100%. Like, even if my ultimate solution, right? Let's say they were like, we're trying to cut off having discs sit on the shelf, right? Where we don't want to print 3 million discs and only sell 1.5 million. Okay, fair. Make disc, the disc versions, make them to order. You must pre-order in order to get a physical copy now. And that's all you print. You got to lock in 30 days before or whatever. You must lock in, have it pre-ordered, and those are the only discs that will be produced. Therefore, you cut off any excess. You don't produce any excess disc. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that cuts out the waste right there.
Yeah.
That's an alternative. Like, I'm just saying that I'm just an alternative.
Keep releasing physical disc.
I mean, I'm not saying that but I'm saying if that's the issue, right? If the issue is to reduce the because like I get it, right? Like that would frustrate me as a logistics person. If I have to guess there's going to be 3 million sales of Ghost of Yote, and it's just going to shit on the shelf to the point where we have to discount it, and then it's not going to sell for what, eventually sells for maybe less than what it costs for us to produce it, then I get that frustration. But I'm saying if it's made to order, at the very least, you still get the option, which is the important question we're having here, right? Is there a way we can still secure the option? I think that's a happy middle ground, personally. That's just me.
Yeah, I think that part of me feels like PlayStation, because and there's a lot of people who say they won't, but PlayStation's walked back decisions before.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty quickly and decisively. They've walked back decisions. They were shutting down the PS3 store 2 years ago, and nope, not no more. And now they're shutting it down again, which was one of the topics for tonight, but we're just not going to get there. But like that, they change their mind when they do need to. There is a chance that they're going to look and go, you know what? We may have misjudged. Maybe the data was wrong in the player sentiment, even though the data might follow that and sales might follow that. We still need to offer physical, even if it's in reduced numbers. Because right now, and Wara was talking about this in the Discord earlier, he basically said that they have been like cutting out the amount of physical copies they ship. And that's
absolutely
true. And there have been games. I mean,
most of the time you're not going to get one at GameStop if you didn't pre-order.
Correct. And so, like, that's why I was so excited about getting Adventures of Elliot, because they had one copy in the entire store. One. And I got it. But there were times that last year I went to go grab a game and nope, wasn't there. So I bought it digitally. I wasn't going to get it digitally, but I did. And I, stuff like that, if we were more disciplined as people in general, not just as gamers, then companies pulling this shit wouldn't actually fly. because we would look at ourselves and go, you know what? I don't need to get it on day one. I can wait until they get their next shipment of physical disc in 2.5 weeks. But instead we go, nope, I need it day one. And they know that about us. So they're like, hey, we're only going to send 5 copies of this game over to GameStop. And we're going to make sure that they only get these 5 copies. And once they're gone, it's going to be 2 weeks before they get any more. And if people want to play it, they got to buy it digitally. And what happened? Well, 80% of people bought it digitally. And so I think that there is some credence to that. I am interested to follow the story, but like I said earlier, the rage, the anger, the misplaced frustration for clicks. I'm not doing that shit ever again. And
oh yeah, I mean, people doing backflips off the roof.
No shit.
Talking about I'm never buying a game again or something crazy. I'm like, bro,
cool.
Okay, calm down.
Have a nice day.
Let's walk back the nonsense here. Get out the straitjacket and act like a normal person. Like I get it's scary, but let's act like a normal human being here.
And at the end of the day, if you decide, hey, guess what? I'm not gonna buy any more games, then it doesn't require a rage bait video to tell people I'm not buying any more games. Well, good for you. I am so happy that you thought it necessary to tell everybody and their mother that you're not buying new games. And then I want you to talk to me when GTA 6 comes out. I want you to talk to me when Ace Combat 8 comes out. Wolverine, God of War Ragnarok, Final Fantasy Resonance, Final Fantasy 7 Revelation. Like, talk to me when some of the big hitters come out. See what you got there.
Yeah, you already know. I'm
like,
I'm keeping it gaming. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep gaming.
I'm
gonna speak my mind, but I'm gonna keep gaming.
So what's really funny is we have currently 3 people, the 3 different people represented. We got Nelson, who is like, I am done. After the PS5, I'm out. I'm just going to focus on retro gaming, and that's it. Period. Cool. You have the person like me, who I'm like, you know what? I don't really know how I'm going to react in 18 months. I might fuck with it still. I might not. I don't know. Initial reaction is, I don't like it. I already don't trust government and corporations, and I already think they're just trying to control me, and I already think that we're literally in a position where we don't have any choice or say-so in anything. So by me pushing back against this, and by me saying, hell no, we won't go, I'm doing something in my mind to say, damn the man, save the empire. Also, another great movie reference. I hope y'all get that one. I might go there. I might go to the place where, like, you know what? If I want to play my titles that I want to play, I got to buy them digitally. And I'm not going to be forced, at least I don't think I will be, to buy a PS6 to play the games that I want to play for at least 2 to 3 years after the PS6 releases. Like, I think we're going to have a long tail on this generation like we did with the PS4. And Absolutely. So I have that choice. But the other option that I might go with is, you know what? I love gaming so much that I don't give a shit. And all 3 of those people are valid. Because that third one's innate. I love gaming so much, I'm going to keep it gaming. I'm just going to keep going. I don't care.
But the problem with that, just to be clear,
not that you don't care.
No, not that I don't care. I'm saying, but just to be clear, I have an option with PC gaming that they definitely don't want me to deploy.
That's
you have an option with PC.
No, I don't.
You have an option.
No, I don't.
You have an option.
No, I don't.
But you say that, but a lot of people right now, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, I know what the talking is in the back rooms, what the back whispers.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's also what'd you just say about the movies, right? The movie issue.
Mm-hmm.
All them things getting yanked.
Mm-hmm.
I got several people hitting me up. How do I start the server? How do I get this going? I'm telling you, when push comes to shove, and you start doing people dirty, Because if they get dirty and they start pushing you, now I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be you specifically.
Nope.
If it's not you, but it's 10 million other people, that's a problem. That's what I'm telling you.
Yes. Now that part I will agree with. It is going to be a problem, and this is going to come off really self-righteous sounding, and I don't mean it to. I do not hold to because they did something fucked up, I now get to break the law. I don't deal with that, especially in the entertainment sector. If it was like...
To be clear, I'm not saying that's the only option. I'm saying you have alternatives. I'm not saying just that alternative.
Sure.
The alternative could just be, I will no longer purchase anything third party from PlayStation. Like, when I say that's a big problem, again, look at that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about piracy and ripping.
No, it's not just.
And ripping movies and putting them on a server and all that.
That's one problem, right?
Yeah.
That's one problem. But then the other problem is, like I said, just the alternative could be, hey, I'm only purchasing third-party titles. Like Hero just said it earlier. He said the games that are not pushing the threshold, I'm probably just going to get them on Switch from now on. My Switch 2. So he, again, making the decisions like I said that I do. When a game comes out, you know, like Adventures of Elliot, right? I know people with powerful PCs and PS5 Pros, the whole nine, bunch of them picked up Elliot on the Switch 2.
So my son wants a Switch 2 and he wants Adventures of Elliot to be the second game that he gets for it. First, he wants Minecraft, the Switch 2 edition.
You see?
Like, those are the two things that he wants. He wants to play. And I was like, dude, you can just take it to the office and play it on y'all's PlayStation. And he was like, yeah, but I really want to play it in my bedroom.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, now granted, he's a kid, right? So he doesn't have the money. That's up to you.
Right.
But to the people that are in control of that money and have that option, like, I'm saying, how many people make the decision now to, how many times a year do you weigh that option between a Switch, your PC, and your PS5 and go, as long as I can avoid it, right? And I know your PC's not super powerful, right? But it's also pretty good, right?
It's pretty
you've
stout.
had some good
it can do stuff.
You've had some good times, right? I heard your expressions when you was playing Batman, maxed out. I heard, I remember.
Okay,
I was there.
So that game really impressed me, maxed out. And I also played, oh crud, what is it? Josh keeps telling me I need to play them and finish them, but they scare the bejesus out of me.
Was it like Bioshock or something?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Bioshock.
Yeah,
sorry, little kids, creepy little kids in video games or in any kind of medium freak me the fuck out. Like, I can't do The Ring. I can't do Poltergeist. That stuff just trips me the hell. No, kids and creepy shit I'm out. But like...
No, I don't blame you.
I can't.
But I mean, there's other titles that honestly you would probably like the what is it, the Lord of the Rings series? I can't remember what it's called.
Shadows
right now.
of War.
Shadows of War and stuff is beautiful.
Okay,
they never gave it the 60 FPS patch and all that stuff on PlayStation, but boy, on PC, man,
and that game, that bundle goes on sale for like $8 for both of them.
Yes, it does.
Often.
Yes, it does. Often.
Like it's like it's almost like its base price is $8 now. Like it doesn't really go above that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you have options already, right? So like if you already have your limit, right? Your 370 or maxed out price games, right? So you start getting a little retro. That is considered retro already, technically. And you're like, look, I'm gonna dig into these couple of sales, pick up a couple of these JRPGs, which PC's getting a ton of JRPG support. I'm not saying you're gonna go full PC. I'm saying all revenue that you 100% would have always given to PlayStation starts falling off a bit. And if it falls off a bit for a couple million people,
so do you think they walk it back then?
Drops. I don't know yet. I think the fallout is bad. I the only thing that I agree, like I said, I agree that Corey was right, that they expected the hate and the outcry. I genuinely don't think they expected it to be what I've seen personally. Like, it's bad. Like, I mean, people are
Yeah.
hysterical. Like, it's really like it's ugly out there. Like, I wouldn't want to be PlayStation right now with that, like dealing with that noise.
No.
I mean,
And poor
people are
Sid,
already
he's the one.
coming for Herman's head. You know what I'm saying? Before this announcement,
Yeah.
like, they're like, so what are they coming for now? Like, I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to be that. Will they walk it back? I don't know. If they do, I think they'll be careful and say, this won't begin until PlayStation 6 or something, right? Which is probably what they should have said in the first place, right? But they didn't want to commit to that because they haven't actually announced the PS6. So they said 2028, right?
And I think the PS6 is I think the PS6 is still in flux. I know earlier I said 2028,
Yeah.
and like that is still what I'm going to stick with, but I
Yeah.
fully believe the PS6 is in flux because of everything. So, here's the thing. I don't think Xbox has been totally lying to us when they talk about the RAM prices and everything getting 5 times as much starting in November.
They're definitely in trouble because of the choices they made, because they didn't secure and allocate a certain amount,
Right.
which means you don't have as much leeway in your negotiations on the table. So yeah, I definitely don't think they're lying there.
And so, but it's also, I've also seen other people not in the gaming space talk about how there's going to be a doubling, not a 5 times increase, but a doubling of RAM prices again in October, November area. And so,
that's been reports everywhere.
I think that PlayStation is honestly waiting till the very, very last moment to gather enough real-time market data to be able to say, hey, this is how much it costs to produce. Because there's already something out there that says the PS6 is going to cost $950 to make. Like,
yeah, you're talking about basically what Valve did. Valve waited till the absolute last moment, and it supposedly was going to be $750, and now we got the prices we got now, because they waited till the very last minute to announce those pricings.
Yeah, because
so yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. The only thing I'll be careful of with PlayStation.
What's up, Wild Wolf?
They don't. Okay, so it's supposed to potentially, right? Potentially alleviate or begin to alleviate by 2028, right? The RAM issue. So whatever solutions and
it's supposed to levelize. It's not going to go back down. It's supposed to levelize.
It's not going to go all the way back down to where it was, because they're never going to let it, right?
Exactly.
We know that. That's the problem with inflation. Even it'll go back down for the businesses, but not us. They'll say, hey, you didn't like 450, you used to pay 150, how about 220? Like, that's what they'll do. Once that finally comes back. But the only thing I'll be careful of, right, if depending on where PlayStation 6 launches and stuff like that, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think PlayStation is in trouble during the PlayStation 6 generation if they wait too long and prices come back down too far and people are leaning too much in on PC, and if the PS6 struggles to pass that threshold where Xbox was last generation, where they thought, where Xbox dudes swore there was no issue, right? When they sold about 55 million consoles. If PlayStation does not exceed that number with PS6, it's over. You can quote me on that right now. If the PS6 does not exceed 50 to 55 million consoles sold in its lifetime next generation, they are in trouble. And it is on its way down.
Do you think they would drop that much?
I think they could.
Wait, hang on. Because we're at about 98 right now, right, with the PS5?
We are.
Okay, so you're telling me for 40 years... No, I'm just kidding. You're telling me that you think that they have the potential to drop 30%?
I do.
Now,
over the course of next generation,
are you relating that to these? So, are you relating that to the
all these current moves, market conditions? I'm just
doubling
saying,
up on live service again. Like, who the fuck had that on their bingo card?
Yeah, I don't know why they. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're making a lot of weird moves. On top of that, like, it's not. I'm not just saying, like,
live service. Would you shut up, please? You had every gamer. Listen to this, guys. They had every gamer eating out of the palm of their hand for 3 weeks since GTA 6 got announced. with a release date, with pre-orders, they had gamers right there. And instead of saying, hey guys, we're going to cherish y'all, we're going to take care of y'all, we're going to treat y'all right, they said, hey, bend over real quick. We're shoving live service straight up your ass crack again. Also, we're going to announce that we're going to be getting rid of physical discs starting in 2028. Also, we're going to let everything leak that the PS6 has $950 worth of components in it. Also, on top of that, you're going to just enjoy this because that's what we're telling you our goal is. And I'm like, guys, listen, you're doing Xbox things right now. Shut up. Like, I know we're like, Sony doesn't talk.
They're talking. They're talking a lot right now.
Sony doesn't talk.
They're talking too much. They're talking way too much right now, and it's none of it's good.
That's like Josh in the Discord earlier goes. So, question: does Xbox have something up their sleeve for tomorrow to take the heat off of PlayStation? I was like, man, I don't. This one's a big one.
I don't know. They're going back and forth, I don't know, but I mean, they seem to be trying to play one up in the wrong direction. Like
Xbox announces rumors announce potential 20,000 or 10,000 people laid off from Xbox starting next week, and PlayStation's like, or Sony's like, cool, Bungie, 450 employees gone. Wait, okay, awesome. Xbox, we're going to shut down studios. We're going to put a showcase together that's nothing more than advertising to get these things sold off. Wow, y'all suck. PlayStation, we're taking games away, or taking physical games away 2028. Like, dude, stop. Like, you are wasting good opportunities for great press. Like I said earlier, man, they dodged a bullet because Deborah Ann Wall is so damn likable, and Cory Balrog came out and said, hey, I've actually orchestrated this whole thing. Y'all are getting to see behind the curtain for the past 10 years of what we've been storyboarding. Deborah Ann has been in this since the very beginning. She has had input the entire way, just like the other voice actors have. And it's been wonderful to watch everything come together. There's going to be this and that. It's a whole, like, so combine those two things together and they dodged a massive ass bullet. Wolverine came out. And the big question, is it gonna be bloody? Is it gonna be visceral? You dang straight it is. Like, they dodged so much shit over the past month, and then they pull an Xbox, open their mouth 3 times in a row, and it was all bad. We're shutting down the PlayStation, the PS3 store, and the Vita store. You tried that once and people hated it. They're not gonna like it this time. You're taking away physical media. The PS6 is going to be massively, massively inflated from the PS5 price. Like,
well, and that part you just said right there is where I said I think the issue could come in. So right now there would be no problem where the price is looking like it's going to be for PS6. But what I was saying is if prices restabilize and you start to come back down to a really good PC, let's just assume the PS6 is $1,000. It's $999. That sounds terrible. I know. Or $899. We'll give them leeway and say $899.
My mind just said "fuck it" twice. Like that's.
Oh yeah, I mean I know, but as I said, we'll be nice and say $899, right? Okay, but the PCs that you could build that I could build before show back up, where now you could get, you know. This is tough because I know you don't necessarily understand these exact numbers, but basically you can get a high end, the start of a high end PC at about $1,200 to $1,500 again. Like that comes back because RAM starts to stabilize, you know, SSD stabilize, you know, the whole NAND market stabilizes and starts to drop back down, and you get back down to those numbers. And you're so close to PCs, while tons of people are interested in PC gaming, mind you. Like, well, I've already built one for one niece. The nephew's computer is already built, by the way. Like that was built before because you know Uncle Tony knew, so that was built before. But but that's what I'm saying. So I already had a ton of people interested. I had people come up to me and start asking me about builds that have never been interested in PC in their life. This is the stuff I'm saying. Like, there's an unprecedented interest in it. The problem right now is they're lucky that PC also went sky high, right? That's the thing. But if things come back down and they don't necessarily go back down to those really great, wonderful, $4.99 prices we're so used to, right? And they're still up, but the PC market is stabilizing, with individual parts, right? Because that's the thing to remember. They're individual parts. They're not a company that has to answer for that. They
Right.
come down individually. So if that stabilizes sooner during the next generation, and the majority of titles are available on PC like they have been, which, like I said, PC has actually been getting, you don't hear about it because PC is not a platform holder, right? But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, PC has gotten a metric ton of things that they used to not get. So the few things they used to not get